Hi everyone and welcome to Creative Cakes by Sharon. Today I'm going to show you how I made this gorgeous little bumblebee cake just in time for Valentine's Day. My little bumblebee cake is the perfect size for just 2 people to share on Valentine's Day. She's not very hard to make and I'm going to show you just how you can create your very own gorgeous little bumblebee cake to share between you and your special Valentines. So let's get started. So today I've got everything that I'll be using here, and I have a detailed list for you to check out of all the items that I'm using in the description box below. The first thing I'm going to do is build up the cake. So I'm going to stack all of the cakes, the 3 larger ones I'm going to use for the body and the 2 smaller ones for the head, applying a layer of my buttercream frosting in between each cake. To make sure my cake is nice and stable, I'm going to insert a skewer right through the centre of all of the cakes. To create the body of my cute little bumblebee, I'm going to round off the top edges of the bottom stack of cakes and also trim off some of the cake from the top and bottom edges of the top 2 cakes until I get a nice round shape. Now I'm going to cut a little wedge out of the top cake so that I end up with a nice contoured face for my bumblebee and her eyes are set a little bit back from the front of her face. It's now time to apply a crumb coat to the cake using my white chocolate ganache. Once the cake is fully covered, I'm going to put it in the fridge for about 5 minutes to firm up slightly. While the cake is sitting in the fridge, I've got my red fondant and 3 love heart cutters here. So I'm going to roll out my red fondant and cut out 2 large hearts, 1 medium-sized heart and 4 tiny little hearts. The 2 larger hearts are going to be used to make up the wings. The medium-sized heart is the one my little bumblebee is holding, and the tiny ones are going to be used to create the little bow on her head. So I'm just going to stick the 2 little hearts together so it's nice and thick, roll out a tiny piece of fondant to wrap around the centre of the bow, and use a wooden tool to indent a few little crease marks in the bow. For the love heart my little bumblebee is holding, I want to create a stitching line all the way around the edge, and then using these little letters to spell out the request on her love heart, I'm going to press them into the fondant. Then all of these pieces can be set aside to dry a little while we continue working on the cake. So I've removed the cake out of the fridge now and I'm going to apply another nice thick coat of the white chocolate ganache. And while the ganache is still soft, I'm going to use some boiling water to heat my offset spatula in and glide it over the surface to get a beautiful smooth finish all over the cake. It then goes back in the fridge, this time for about 10 minutes to set. Once the cake comes back out of the fridge, I can get started on covering it. So I've rolled out some yellow fondant, cut it into 2 pieces, and with one piece I'm going to gently drape it over the head, smoothing out the fondant and trimming off the excess. For the body, I'm just going to roll my fondant back onto my roller, hold it vertically against my cake and unwrap the fondant around the cake. Once again, smoothing down the sides, trimming off the excess at the top. And tucking in the fondant just under the neck. Using the back of the paintbrush, I'm just going to press the fondant very gently to create 2 little eye sockets. Now using a little piece of red fondant, which I've rolled into a teardrop shape, I'm going to stick it on for the nose and then use my wooden tool to press down the top to create a tiny little heart. Using the little heart cutter, I'm going to indent the fondant to create a mouth, adding 2 little dimples, the eyebrows, and a little tongue. Using some black fondant strips, I'm going to create my little bumblebee stripes, sticking them on her body with a little bit of edible glue. I'm going to use a nice thick roll of black fondant to create both of her hands. And then position them on the cake with one hand holding the love heart and the other hand cheekily pressed up against her mouth. The legs are also made with 2 logs of fondant, pressing up the end to create a little foot. To create the antennas, I've got 2 small pieces of black wire which I'm colouring over with my black edible marker and using the pliers to curl over the edges before inserting them just at the top of her head. Now I can place her little bow just in front of the antennas. And then using 2 more small pieces of wire, I'm going to insert them into the tips of the love hearts and pop them into her back to create her wings. Now just to finish off my gorgeous little bumblebee with the finishing touches, I'm going to add 2 little balls of black fondant for her eyes, dust her little cheeks with a little bit of pink petal dust, add her gorgeous little curly eyelashes, and 2 teeny tiny balls of white fondant to finish off her eyes. And here she is, guys, my absolutely adorable little bumblebee cake, the perfect little sweet treat to share with your loved one on Valentine's Day. I hope you had as much fun watching as I had making this cake, and if you did, don't forget to share a little love and give her a like. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, be sure to click the subscribe button so you can follow along as I show you how to create more amazing cakes and desserts just like this one. I also have a chocolate sweethearts tutorial for Valentine's Day which I think you'd like, so pop over and check that one out as well. I always love hearing from you guys, so drop me a line in the comment section below and connect with me on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram and Twitter. I'm sending lots of love to you all for a very special Valentine's Day, and as always, thanks for watching.